Welcome to Red Recaps. In this video, we will be taking an overview of a twisted, mind-blowing movie, The Gone Girl. As we begin, take a seat and relax, because it will undoubtedly pique your interest. Now let's get the ball rolling. In the opening scene of the film, Nick strokes his wife Amy's hair and says in a voiceover that he wants to probe her mind to discover what kinds of secrets might emerge. The 5-year anniversary of Nick and Amy is today, July 5th, 2012. He meets his sister Margo at the bar. He talks about his wife and appears to be a little distressed. Nick and Amy first met in a restaurant and fell in love back at the bar, as seen in a flashback scene. When Nick returns home after receiving a call and discovers that his wife is missing, he and Margo discuss their anniversary gifts. He dials the police, and officers Jim Gilpin and Detective Debony show up. As Detective Bony learns that his wife served as the model for the well-known book Amazing Amy, part of a book series created by her parents, they search the house for clues. Amy describes in her notebook how Nick proposed to her that night, and how they were both content with each other. Nick visits the police station to conduct additional research, where Bony provides him with case information. She quizzes him about Amy's routine and behavior, but Nick's responses come across as somewhat uninterested, and it's strange that he doesn't know Amy's blood type or whether or not she has any close friends. While the cops inspect his home, Nick remains at Margot's house. Margo is not pleased with the way he is handling the matter. A pregnant woman arrives at Nick's home and introduces herself as Amy's best friend. Bony learns that Amy's name is on all of Nick and Amy's credit cards and their bar property. Bony discovers a package with Clue 1 written on it as they investigate their home. Margo instructs Nick to appear unhappy in the morning because she believes that his composed demeanor would give the impression that he is not concerned about his wife. At a press conference, Rand and Mary Beth, the parents of Amy, join Nick in a plea for assistance in locating Amy. Following the press conference, Amy's father reports to the police that one of Amy's 2 ex-boyfriends even assaulted her. The first clue, which leads them to Bony's office, where they discover a pair of red underwear, and the second clue, which makes some reference to a brown house, are both solved by Bony, who explains to Nick that it's simply one of Amy's treasure hunts. When Bony inquires about the second clue, Nick replies that he is unsure. The third clue is then discovered, but Nick hides it from the police because he knows what Amy indicated in the second clue. So he goes to his father's house. Amy describes the time when they both lost their jobs as a result of the recession, which caused them to fight frequently. A gathering is planned for Amy, and one of her ex-boyfriends shows up. As Nick exits the hallway, a woman takes a selfie with him because Nick becomes suspicious of him and begs Bony to watch out for him. She refuses Nick's request to erase it. Even television shows highlight Nick's lack of interest throughout the entire incident, which has Mary Beth upset. Nick and Amy went to Missouri since Nick's mother was diagnosed with cancer, as Amy continued to write about her marriage in her diary. Amy feels excluded from the situation because Nick does not involve Amy in his decisions. Back at Marco's, Andy, Nick's girlfriend, enters and begins kissing him. After telling her to keep quiet and make sure no one finds out about their relationship, they continue making out and engaging in sex. Amy buys Nick a bar after his mother passes away, but she is unhappy with him and believes that over time, he only uses her for sex. When Amy's purchase of a gun is discovered by the police, she documents it in her diary. She also discusses how their relationship is worsening and how she is worried that Nick will hurt her. She writes that Nick wants to get rid of her, but is unable to do so because she owns the bar in the house. When Margo sees Nick walking Andy out of the apartment in the morning, she yells at him and worries that he will get into serious trouble if anyone finds out about them. She switches on the television, where a presenter displays a photo of Nick that the girl had earlier taken with him. Tanner Bolt, a defense lawyer, responds to her question about the case by defending Nick by claiming that just because he doesn't appear depressed doesn't mean he is responsible for his wife's abduction. When Margo overhears the talk, she suggests that Nick hire Tanner as his attorney. Gilpin and Bony both watch the same television program. As they discuss the case, they learn that a luminal report indicates that a lot of blood was wiped from Nick and Amy's kitchen. further incriminating Nick. Gilpin believes that Nick is guilty, but Bony disagrees with him. Nick explains that he is not responsible for Amy's disappearance and that he is working with the police at the vigil held in her honor that evening. As he speaks, he declares his love for his wife. Noelle, who is in the crowd, rings him and inquires about whether he is aware that Amy is 6 months pregnant. When it is revealed that she is pregnant, everyone is shocked and begins to inquire, but Nick leaves. Nick is at home when Bony enters and inquires if he was aware of Amy's pregnancy. Nick replies that they don't even know Noelle. He examines the images of Noelle and Amy that Bony has shown him. Once more surveying the area, Bony reports that someone cleaned up a pool of blood in the kitchen, suggesting that Nick killed his wife. After showing him all the credit card reports, Nick is questioned by Bony about increasing Amy's life insurance. Nick becomes irate and claims he did not purchase anything listed on the bill. After Bony receives a call confirming Amy's pregnancy, Nick becomes irate and won't talk further without a lawyer present. When Bony returns to Nick's father's house, she discovers Amy's partially burned diary in the fireplace. The diary contains all the pertinent information, including Amy's worry that Nick will kill her. Meanwhile, Nick finds the gift box and everything else mentioned in his credit card bills in the woodshed at Margot's house after solving the third clue. Amy is seen driving a car on the road in the following scene, and a voiceover explains that she planned everything to frame her husband for cheating on her and taking everything from her. She describes how she worked on every detail, from befriending Noelle to fabricating information about the pregnancy to establish Nick as the murderer. Nick visits his sister and presents her with all the evidence from the woodshed, implying that Amy is responsible for everything. They decipher the message from Amy and discover that she wanted Nick killed as retaliation for her murder, because she was unaware that the state of Missouri has the death penalty on the other hand. They open the gift box and discover puppets inside. Amy changes her outfit before leaving the house and rents a room at the hotel, where she meets Greta. After informing Nick that all the evidence is against him and that he needs to find someone who can support his position, Tanner is hired as his attorney. On Tanner's advice, Nick meets Tommy, who informs him that Amy filed rape charges against him even though he never did that to her. Nick tells him about Amy's boyfriends, Tommy and Desi Collings. Nick visits Desi Collings, Amy's other boyfriend after Tommy, but he refuses to speak with him and slams the door in his face. The same program that accuses Nick and his sister Margo of having an unsettlingly close relationship is shown in Amy's hotel room, where she is delighted to watch it. Amy then calls the police undercover and informs them of Margot's woodshed. When Nick discusses Andy, Tanner predicts that she will go public to expose him. However, Nick believes in Andy and believes that she will never go against her. Tanner visits Nick, and he and Margo discuss all the clues she left. Greta and her partner steal all of Amy's money. Nick appears on a television program with renowned host Sharon Scheiber at Tanner's suggestion to give his side of the story. Amy is left with nowhere to go after being robbed and losing all of her money. When she calls her ex-boyfriend Desi Collings for assistance, he agrees to set up a safe place for her. Andy attends a press conference with Amy's parents right before Nick's interview and discusses Amy and Nick's relationship. Tanner suggests delaying the interview, but Nick rejects him and goes ahead with it. Amy tours Desi's lake house after he shows her around and describes all of the amenities, but she is more interested in the news and pays little attention. After he leaves, Amy notices where all the security cameras are located. When Nick's interview with Amy is broadcast that evening, he claims that while he did not kill her, it was his fault that their relationship deteriorated. He also expresses his love for Amy and asks her to return. Everyone's perception of him was altered by this interview. As they discuss the interview, Margo gives him high marks. After searching and discovering everything, the police arrest Margo when Bony enters with a search warrant for the woodshed. Amy hears Nick yelling at her during the interview and begins to miss him as he claims she needs more time to move on. The police find more incriminating evidence that suggests Nick is guilty, so they arrest him as well. Amy and Desi have a good time together one day. As soon as Desi leaves the place, Amy ties her leg with a string and cries in front of the camera, pretending that he is holding her there against her will. Nick and Margo are freed from prison. Amy fabricates the scene once more to make it appear as though Desi had raped her, and she had killed him in self-defense. When Nick hears a car outside in the morning, he goes to see what it is, and finds Amy with blood all over her. The reporters recognize her and begin to take pictures of her with Nick, but she passes out in his arms. Amy gives a false account of how Desi Collings abducted and raped her after the doctors later examined her and determined that she had been raped. Amy responds to Bony's question about the diary by saying that despite their differences, she and Nick still love each other and that everyone applauds her for her bravery. Amy agrees to tell Nick the truth when they get home because she knows she was lying earlier. But she goes with him to the shower to make sure he is not recording her. Nick offers to leave her because of what she did, but she responds that if he does, everyone will turn against him because his wounded wife fought her way back to him. Because of his fear of her, Nick is unable to sleep at night because he believes Amy will hurt him in the morning when she makes him breakfast and acts as if nothing ever happened. Bony is asked to take action, but refuses because she claims that there isn't enough evidence to take action against Amy. Nick, Margo Tanner, and Bony are discussing their next steps. Margo is powerless to help him. Nick and Amy announce their impending parenthood in a subsequent public appearance. The film ends in an unclear manner, with Nick and Amy still cohabitating despite all the drama and confusion. Wow, what a thrilling ride! I hope you enjoyed that breathtaking experience. Leave a comment down below and like this video if you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this exhilarating mystery movie, check our links down below to watch it. Also, subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching Red Recaps. See you in the next video.